Hello friends, welcome to my December's bullet journal setup video. Today we're going to take a look at a combination of the setup process. So because I don't have a lot of time to film and edit and sit down to film and edit all of the spreads, sometimes I manage to do that and other times I don't. For example, in October we saw the setup of the other subsequent pages but not the cover page. I did that on my own time without filming it. In November we saw part of the setup and painting process for all of the pages, and I still don't have that video out, and it's the last day of the month, almost. And then for December, since I knew I was gonna do something very simple for the subsequent pages and just use one color as the decorative element, sort of like what I did in October, but even more toned down, I thought that for this video we will see the painting process for the cover page, because I do like to have my cover pages decorative, and I chose a really nice illustration and I painted it yesterday and I filmed it. So that is what we're gonna see after this clip. But all of the subsequent pages, my calendar, monthly dashboard, all of my weeklies and my monthly reviews have already been set up, and I didn't film them. They took roughly like a couple of hours, maybe 3. I worked on it like late into the evening on Thursday and then early in the morning on Friday, and just got it done because I wasn't filming it and I didn't have to worry about my phone being charged and having storage space and organizing my desk and getting the supplies and actually set up, and getting interrupted by family, because Friday is family day, and then going out and everything. I was able to work on it in shorter pockets of time and batch some tasks together, and got it done fairly quickly. So yeah, I'm filming this out of order because the setup is already fully completed. I'm just filming the intro now, and I'm gonna show you the supplies I use, then jump straight into the cover page process or setup. All right, so let's talk about the paints for the cover page first, I guess, since that is the first page in this setup. And I'm gonna go ahead and say I maybe went overload with the colors, but these are the ones that I used. There is a bit too many of them, but some I used for like a teeny tiny dot in the painting. So the main colors are titanium white, sap green, burnt umber, cerulean blue. Those are the main parts for the entire painting. And then I used I did actually like how cerulean blue looked on the white paper, so I went with ultramarine to try and fix the tone of the blue. And then the other colors, I used them for specific purpose. I don't want to spoil the painting, but orange was also, I guess, prominently used there. And then these were just used, like the lemon yellow was used to lighten the vermilion because I don't have a true orange. And then the pink, I needed it for a teeny tiny dot. The lamp black, I used it a teeny tiny bit. And this is just an extra white, in case I ran out of the titanium white, because I use this in every single painting. So these are the paints I used. They're gouaches from Rocco, my preferred brand. I'll be sure to have it linked below. I would say the painting took maybe an hour and a half, so roughly not too long. But yeah, I'm not gonna say anything more about the painting. The brushes are used are round brushes from Opeth, and then an unidentified brand that I've had for ages and ages. I used one brush of those, and then one detail brush. So roughly the sizes 6, 7, and 8, maybe for the unidentified brush, and a 000 brush, I think, or a 0 brush. So those are the brushes. For the other parts of the setup, I used mainly one marker for everything, lines and headers, which is this one. This is a Faber-Castell connector pen. I have it numbered as 55 because I color organized the numbers, the markers and then numbered them, but it's this beautiful blue that has a tinge of gray in it. It's beautiful. I want to swatch it for you in the back, but I love this color. I always gravitate to some sort. So you see, I did something here when I was testing what I was gonna do with the setup, but yeah, this is the blue that I went with, and this is sort of how everything looks like, which we are gonna see in just a second once I flip through and explain the rest of the spreads. So we have this one marker, and then obviously to go with it, I did some second line highlights and I used the N95. I wanted to use a cool gray, but none of them really matched well with this. So I ended up using this and it went very, very good. And then I added some sparkles using this silver gel pen from Jelly Roll, just to add like drop shadows to the lettering, and then also to some of the line work that I did. And then as a decorative element, I used inward rounded corners. I'm pretty sure somebody told me what it is called, but I completely forgot. So inward rounded corners, I guess. And then one thing I am really excited to show you is this little thing. This is a snowflake hole puncher. I got it off Shein probably more than a year ago for Project B that is currently on hold, because my friend wanted a full theme of snowflakes, and I thought this would be really handy, except it's not a really good one. I still have like marks on my hands from where I had to press this quite hard to get the paper punched, and I'm not sure if it is, I think it's with all types of paper, but the paper I was punching was quite thick, and I did have washi tape, or not washi tape, double-sided tape on the other side of it. So the paper I ended up using came from this cardboard box cover. This is a sweets and desserts store, and I really liked this cover, so I kept this lid. I do have the box without the lid, but I'm using it to organize some things. So I kept it for this beautiful color and this pattern, and I haven't used it yet. This has been in my stash for a while. So I cut this part off, and then it was actually too thick to get through punched, I guess. So what I ended up doing is breaking up the cardboard, if that makes sense. I want to demonstrate, but I would like rip some of the layers off so it's a little thinner, and then I would put double-sided tape and punch it. I think I have some leftover paper that is punched that I can demonstrate. Yeah, here it is. So this is one of the parts. This is very thinned out. As you can see, I've ripped this in focus. That I've ripped the layers off, then put double-sided tape and punched. So that is what I used supplies wise. And then now let's take a look at the cover page setup. I will leave you with the painting footage and some voiceover, and then we will be back to look at the subsequent pages. Hello friends, it's voiceover Bonnie here. So we are going to talk in depth about the painting process for this cover page. So I started with a round brush and the sky color, which did not turn out the way I imagined it to, and I feel like that was because of the white background. Everything looks slightly different, and I'm used to painting on gray and black more than white. So I painted everything with the color that I didn't like, which was a mix of titanium white, cerulean blue, and then some burnt umber, which I added a teeny tiny dot of that to help it become more neutral, but that turned it green. So I painted everything with the wrong color so that when I cover it, it doesn't look like some areas have a layer of different paint underneath, if that makes sense. And then the same color or the same color mix that I used for the sky is also what I used for the bluish areas in the mountains, say shadows, and then also the area on the slide. It's not a slide, the slope, I guess, the mountain slope. And then after I was done with that, I used a lot of titanium white and the same brush, I believe, to cover all of the snowy areas, as well as the clouds, using stippling motion for that. I knew I was going to touch it up, so I wasn't too precious, but I tried to cover the most areas with the titanium white, which looks a little yellow, but that is the effect of the white paper. Once I'm done with the painting and we have more colors, everything will regulate itself and it will look fine. Once I was done with that, I started on the trees. My favorite part, I love painting those trees. They are so easy, even though sometimes I mess them up. I mixed sap green with burnt umber to get a beautiful green color, and then with my brush I went ahead and painted everything. The teeny tiny trees, I tried to paint them with a detail brush as well as the large brush, depending on what gave me the best result. Now there is like a field of trees, or I don't know what's the proper term for it, in the background, and I wasn't sure how I was going to make them look like layers and layers of trees, but actually turns out I could achieve that pretty easily with a round brush and a little bit of a watered down paint. And then when I kept flickering it upwards to get like the spikes of the treetops, and because I had a mix of paint, I guess, and a little bit of water on the brush, going over them a few times made them streaky, I guess, but that gave the exact result that I needed, and I'm so happy that it turned out okay. Then I started on the snow. I used a detail brush and then just titanium white paint to go over the strokes of the trees and add a little bit of snow piling, I guess, on top of each branch. And this is perhaps my favorite step, because if I mess anything up, I could always count on some snow to fix it. Then I started on the two skiing figures, and here's where I had a major realization about the illustration I chose. Is this AI generated? I just realized this might be AI generated. I'm so mad. I'm so mad I didn't see it earlier. It's fine. I don't like doing this. But I continued the painting because I was too invested at this point, but I don't know how I did not realize it earlier, other than the skis being doubled and not so very clear where the details are. The orange guy's like ski stick, quote unquote, was bent in half, and I thought maybe that existed in ski world. I know a lot about ice skating, not so much about skiing, but yeah, I worked on them, used black, used multiple layers in the hopes of building dimension, used white for highlights. One guy has an orange jacket, the other has a blue jacket, so I used that. Then I used a little bit of fuchsia and purple for like the eye masks, I think, or eye goggles, and then the skis got a bit more orange and black and dimension, and I painted everything. Then I went back to the trees because the largest tree that is in the foreground, no, in the front, I guess, was lacking a little dimension, so I added some branches, and then I went back to add some details that I missed from the original inspo image, then also with some titanium white to fix some of the areas and add fluffiness to the snow that the ski people are fluffing away as they ski, I guess. Maybe I worked on this for a little too long for the teeny tiny details, but I really wanted the snow to look fluffy and not just a patchy area, I guess, and I love texture, so To add the month title, I just used the blue marker that I've been using, and because I worked on this last, the nib was a little worn down, so I didn't get much variation in the upper and lower strokes, so I doubled that up. Then I also used the silver marker on top, added a snowflake, and then outlined the entire painting, first with the blue marker and then with the silver marker, and that concludes my beautiful December cover page. Alright, so now that the cover page painting is all done, I can show you. It is beautiful. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I had trouble settling on what painting I was going to do for December, and I really wanted something snowy. I just want that for December every single time, recently or in recent years, because I love to associate cold and cool tones and blues with December. Everything, because I was looking early in November, everything that I liked was fall related, because I was still in my fall mindset. But towards the end of the month, I started finding more illustrations that I liked, and this one kept popping up in my mind, living rent-free, we could say. So every time I thought about this theme, I would be like, or about this month, I would be like, oh, but what if I did this painting? And I was very hesitant for two reasons. Freehanding mountains never work. I talk about this extensively in my December setup of last year. And even then, I struggled this time with the mountains, even though I had some, trace lines to guide me. And then these two guys are impossibly small. And I was really scared that I wasn't gonna paint them well. And so I kept delaying when I'm gonna set up this theme until I was like, Bonnie, the month is literally next Monday, you better start. And it was a little difficult because they are so small, but also because they are so small, the mistakes are not as much noticeable as you would think. And also there's this thing where you imply the shape of things and then your brain fill in the rest. And I'm hoping that is happening here. All right, for my calendar page, I did a very simple thing. I honestly don't like it because it is very, very bare. Now that I'm realizing I didn't do the drop shadow for the days of the week with the silver, so I'm gonna go back and do that. And then probably what I'm gonna do is add an events list here just to fill up the space, because I don't want to do illustrations. But I think what I'm gonna do is just put a list here to fill this space. Maybe add some snowflakes, but I'm not sure where I'm gonna do that. And then I also really don't like this. I wish I didn't, connect the lines, but it's fine. It's fine. For my dashboard, I went with a very, very simple layout. I was like, let's just give myself the most space for all of the categories, because when I give myself a full column, I don't use it. But when I give myself half a column, I'm squeezing things in, like I did in November, or I'm doing in November. So I was like, let's just go very, very simple. Inner rounded corners, a snowflake at the base of each section, then the categories in my regular cursive and double lined with the silver marker. And it's very beautiful. I like how it shimmers slightly when the light hits it. I hope you can see that. I'm not sure what's up with the focus on my camera today. Let's hope this entire thing is not out of focus. But yeah, it shimmers slightly when the light hits it, and it gives just that wintry feel. For my weeklies, for some reason I wanted to do second line highlights and do something similar to rolling weeklies, except I didn't want to roll them. I wanted them ready in advance because I'm barely filling in my notebook, let alone setting it up every day for the new day. So I did a big border to incorporate the inner rounded corners and to frame everything, because I knew I didn't want to do any boxes for the actual days. So we just have the day's title, snowflake beside it, second line highlights until the base of it, where I have a blue line and also double lined with the silver. So I did that for all of the days, and I forgot that I was supposed to do 3 columns on each side of the page, so I did 2, and then remembered that I had 6. So I went with this layout. Sunday has the most space, and then the rest 4 days of the week, and then the weekend is combined here. I probably could have gone with maybe here also Friday and Saturday, and maybe turn this into a notes section, but I decided to just keep it this way. And this is basically the entire weekly layout. One thing that bothers me is the second line highlights don't really match because of the sections here for the title and such, but these second line highlights match, and then the Sunday and the weekend do as well, so I'm fine with that. I had some mishaps here. I missed the space. I almost lined all of the spaces here, but it's fine. I would say my second line highlighting has gotten better. I really like it. However, we do have some areas where I overlined, or I guess underlined. But yeah, it's the same exact layout for all of the 5 weeks. And there's 5 weeks in December, including I think 3 or 4 days of the new year. Oh, and I just realized I didn't number this calendar, so I'm gonna have to do that once I'm done. And then here's where the mishap. I was so in the groove and not really thinking that I wrote Thursday in place of Tuesday. And so to rectify it, I was like, I'm just gonna write Tuesday in place of Thursday. I'm not sure if I'm gonna flip the information, so Tuesday is actually here and Thursday actually here. But for future me, because I'm probably gonna forget if I do that, I'm just gonna have Thursday information here and Tuesday information here. Lastly, we have my monthly review, and I also wanted it to be very simple. So I sort of replicated the layout that I had for my dashboard and used it here, but also combined it with the layout of my weeklies, because I have 6 sections in my monthly review usually, and then each week had 6 sections. So I decided to give the biggest sections to highlights and memories, and then the smaller sections for challenges, accomplished, favorites, and finances. And did the same thing in rounded corners with the blue marker, a snowflake at the base of each box, the title in my regular cursive, and then double lined with this silver marker. And that is basically it for my December setup. This is the last setup in this notebook. I still have about 12 pages left that I'm gonna probably repurpose later if I ever need white dot grid, but this is the end of this notebook's life. It was a pleasure, even though I didn't get to use it as much as I would have liked. In theory, it still went very well, and I love all of the themes in this notebook. I had a lot of fun with the white paper. I had a really good experience with the white paper this time around, probably because of the paper quality, which is a huge upgrade from my notebook from the first half of the year. And hopefully I will get around to filming a walkthrough. And if you're interested in a walkthrough of my 2024 notebook, because I haven't done that video at all, I'm open to making it a year later. That's fine with me, because I have some awesome themes in there, and it was gray papered, so it was very, very nice. I already have my notebook for next year, and I'm really excited to set it up. I'm gonna start going for very simple themes, just because I don't have the time, unless I start managing my time better and my energy. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go into the direction of having a fun cover page and then a really cohesive and simple following or subsequent pages. Let's take one final look at the last theme in this notebook. But yeah, this is the end of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Please let me know if you have watched any of my previous themes, and let me know what is your favorite. Also, let me know what is your theme for December, because I know from prior experience that December is a really difficult month to pick a theme for, especially if you don't celebrate Christmas, because all of the inspo out there is Christmas related, and I don't celebrate Christmas. So yeah, this was very fun. It was a fun journey. I feel like I'm saying goodbye to this notebook, but I'm still gonna use it for a full month. So yeah, here's to hopefully a better year next year. And yeah, thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully setting up my bullet journal for 2026.